Gerikli Asiwaru, Anga Yakthung Lajelam, Subash Thebe Limbu, Allo Kon Nepal Mingli Kushinganitum. Hello everyone, my name is Subash Thebe Limbu. I come from Yakthung Nation from what we currently know as Eastern Nepal. Welcome to this IBEAM talk. It's a concluding event of our IBEAM Democracy Mission Fellowship for 2020 to 2023. And I'm one of the fellows, one of the 12 fellows, and really happy to be here with you. Today, we're going to be talking about language, storytelling, and colonization, indigenous movement, ongoing indigenous movement in Eastern Nepal. So today we have a guest. He's an elder from our community. He's a professor. I'll let him introduce himself. Professor Tumyahang, can you please introduce yourself briefly, and later on I'll introduce you again, in elaborate kind of way.
Okay. This is me, Amar Tumyahang. I'm from Limbu, eastern part of the Nepal, but now I'm living in the Kathmandu Valley. It's known as this Newa land, and also just added with this Tamsaling also. That's related to the Tamang community, Tamang nation, and their motherland. That's known as that way. And I'm teaching here as a teacher. And then now, just Suvashji also said me that what type of appearance is your now I'm being probably this because of the age I'm wearing a glass and I'm a gray in color. I have this white shirt and also that's a waistcoat also. And another thing is that probably I've saved my beer, which are in a very less in number. I think
Right.
this much here now.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot to give my visual description. So, guys, I'm a indigenous person from Eastern Nepal. I have a long hair. I have traditional silver earrings, very big earrings, and I'm wearing a black shirt. And I'm also wearing a badge. It's our cultural identification of Yakthung people or Limbu people. And okay, so before we move into our conversation, I just want to give you a quick background of what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to share my screen. Just give me 1 second. So both Professor Tumyahang and myself, we come from the eastern part of what we currently know as Nepal, as you can see on the red portion of the map. And the ongoing indigenous movement in our part, in particular, at the moment, it has been going on for the last 5 months. And I also want to kind of point out that, it might seem that these protests may not be related to the people, or may not be relevant to the people watching this talk, but I just want to point out that every kind of indigenous kind of resistance or marginalized people's resistance, the stories behind them, the narrative behind them are the same. It's all got to do with the colonial and imperial endeavor. So I just want you to take our kind of ongoing movement back home as one of the examples or kind of a resistance that has been put forward by marginalized or struggling. the background or the narrative is our ancestral homeland. We call Limbuan and Kirat. And what happened was on nearly 5 months ago, on 1st of March, the state government decided to name the province that our indigenous ancestral homelands, sits on. They decided to name the province Kosi, which we had, which was the same kind of iteration of the previous monarch days or the regimes that which was before that, before the people's movement, and it kind of had the Brahminical connotations or the Brahminical hegemony that our part of the world has been facing for the last 250 years. So Brahminical hegemony, or what I mean by Brahminical ideology means like it's an ideology that a certain people from certain caste, or people from quote unquote upper caste people, kind of has all of the privileges in the state of running the state, or they have all the privileges of the infrastructures that runs the whole kind of state. So they decided to name our province in the same old Brahminical ideology that that the indigenous people were kind of opposed to. And there was a huge protest going on at the moment. It's been nearly, 5 months. And sadly, one of our brothers, Lazehang Limbu, he became martyred, and many hundreds people injured. And the moment is still going on, and the people from all over the province, the indigenous people and our allies are on the street at the moment. And and Professor Tumyahang has been like in the forefront of this movement. And so I'm gonna just let me stop share this video. So I think so this is where we are at the moment. And the people from all over the province, from our ancestral homelands and other indigenous nations in the area, we are protesting against this this idea of erasing our identity, erasing our sovereignty in our parts of the world. And to begin with our conversation, I would like to I would like to start this conversation around the idea of language. So in our IBM fellowship, we kind of did so many we kind of explored many themes, and among those themes were like language, storytelling, and decolonization. So we wanted to kind of structure this conversation by talking around the idea of language, storytelling, and decolonization. So to begin with a conversation, the places the systemic erasure of names that the state is trying to do at the moment. The indigenous names have been changed in line with the only language that the state kind of calls the national language and disregards our indigenous language. And most of the time they are related to Hindu religion and mythology, while totally disregarding belief and culture of people, who were there, like us, who were there like thousands of years and had their own names in our own languages before the Hindu settlers arrived, along with the Brahminical ideologies, that I talked about earlier on. And I just wanted to I just wanted to ask Professor Tumyahang, if you could please talk about this, obsession of the state to change names of indigenous places to Hindu or Brahminical language of the state? I mean, if you could please talk tiny bit about this.
Thank you, Subash. Really, that's very, let's say, this very fearing type of situation is there. Uh, Now, just to this day, not only that this Limbu and all other this indigenous peoples, their many things are in not just marginalized. It's more we can say just endangered situation. That's even your name and my name. We can start from here. Your name Subash is not the just Limbu name, and my name Amar is not Limbu name. Your just family name the Thebe is your that is a Limbu, and my that's Tumyahang is the Limbu. But the same situation is other also other the situations also can be just replicate there. There's a name of the places, the things of the names of the things, or all this our the foods name, or our the festivals names, and this our this culinaries means the things which we use day to day our life. All of those things name is changed nowadays. But in the previous time, means before the annexation of this Limbu onto this into the this Gorkha state, or you can say the Nepal state. In that time, purely all those things named in all in this Limbu language. But nowadays, more or less, I think in a percent we can say 10 to 15% maybe just written there this Limbu language, this is Yakthung language. Except all others are converted into this ruler's language. Like just now we say there's many more things, all things, there's each and everything which we see, we face, or we just touch, all those things changes. Means there's many things are changed there, and it means we are going to be more or less extinct. Our identity is going to be this extinct. That is going to be this disappear. That situation is there. But this 200 around 250 years ago, uh, this Limban has it was this separate independent country. Being an independent country, it has this own political system, economic system, and its own religion. There's Mundum, and there's a nature worship based type of this type of the what's it this religion and social culture. And so we can say that that has this perfect civilization itself. But nowadays, all those things are going to be going to be this ended in this situation there. Then to protect uh, those type of things which just reflect our identities. When our ancestors try to just defend it, for example, when they would like to talk in just a Limbu, or they would like to teach in just a Limbu language and the script, in that time they were they're sent to jail, and some were exiled, like in the Rana regime, Rana reign. You can say this Laltur Sendang was exiled, and in the Panchayat system, in that time, you can see that the Bir Nebang and his colleagues were just sent to jail, and somewhere that's exile, face the exile life. And this type of situation was there, and that's result is today what we are seeing in front of us. That's why it's one way we can say there's many more things we have lost. There's land ownership of land also we lost, because when the skipper system was introduced, then nowadays we can say uh, after that, that's when the keeper system was introduced. Then Yakthung, or you can say the Limbus. The Limbus is exactly that's one synonymous term. But nowadays we are just landless, more or less landless in our own motherland. That's the situation is there. Uh, I say this Subhashi. What about your question?
Yeah, Thank you. Thank you so much for your response. Yeah, you said, I mean, these 250 years of resistance, I mean, our ancestors, and now you, I mean, our elders, I mean, have been resisting this nation state called Nepal. So I just wanted to know, what was the conditions when our Yakthung nation or Limbu nation, uh, for the audience, I mean, so Yakthung is what we call ourselves, and Limbu is, I think it's called exonym. I mean, the people from outside the community call us Limbu. So, what was the condition that our Yakthung nation entered into? I mean, what were the treaties that our nation kind of agreed into when we kind of came under the nation state called Nepal? What were the treaties?
Okay, that's in the normally we are practicing the this Bikram era. It's it's easy to say in the Bikram era. Gorkha this fighters in that time, or you can say the Gorkha Pipindan King also, but exactly he was not representing that the situation, but his the agents were representing that. But at that time also, there were the 10 kings in Limbuan. Among them, 4 kings of the Limbuan, they agreed to do to do this agreement, and in that time, especially accept 2 3 things. One is security of the that area, and another is about the currency, and that's 2 3 things were that's exactly that was transferred to the that's Gorkha, you can say the state or government or the Nepal government, but accept all other things uh, about the that's to all over the for the settlement of the that's other peoples who come in the this Limbuan, and how to settle the settlements, and how to whether the things should be just rule there. Each and everything they command themselves. Yeah, but that type of situation was that in that time. But that's why nowadays also this we feel, and many more leaders feel that we are still we are enjoying our this what is sovereignty of the this Limbuan, and that's why I think it's one event we can now we can recall now. This May 28th, 2008 means after that's when this monarchy was abolished from Nepal, and Nepal became this federal this Democratic Republic of Nepal. Then there's one party, especially Pallo Kirat Limbuan Rashtriya Manch, that was the one party, and that party declared that Pallo Kirat Limbuan is now free at previous time as a past time, and also it is announced as a peace zone too, and also that's then because their logic was that now that's to whom we have did the agreement, that party is collapsed, means that monarchy is collapsed. Because of that, now we become again free. Yeah? That's why they announced that, and for a long time, the government of the Nepal, the party was banned, and the leaders were exiled, and they stayed in like India, and they faced this many like that about the cases, yeah? And that's the situation. The situation was that means still now the existence of the that or sovereignty of the Limbuan is in the mindset of the Limbu people who are just living in the this Limbuan, or maybe the outside of the Limbuan. They are still feeling they have their own sovereign country still now. They are that's way uh, they are thinking that way. They are more or less doing practice that side, because that's we know each and everything up to you can say that the Bikram era, you can say 2052 means it's 1995, 96 up to that time. The Kipot system was more or less they were just enjoying it, and Kipot system was either this autonomous type of community land, use of the community land. And that's why still now they are just thinking this, they are not departed from the sovereignty of this Limbuan country, and this type of their mindset is there. But the situation is there's another, yeah. Still, there's legally or constitutionally, there's the practice of the 250 years plus years is there. That's why there's a state, central state always thinks that is our one part. That's inseparable part. That's why they think. But still, there's Limbu people are thinking. We are, there's very much politically, strategic geographical area. Limbu is that way, and still it can survive in if they always suppress us. If they don't make they don't behave as a brotherhood, how we just did in this past in the agreement. In that time, they think again we can be free, and we try to make it
Yeah,
free.
yeah, that's
Like
yeah, that's yes. Sorry to interrupt you, but yeah, that
yeah,
is the kind of feeling that I have seen in our elders as well. I mean, I recently saw a speech given by Professor Lawati,
yeah,
and yeah, he was saying something just said. I mean, if this state is not gonna acknowledge us, if
yeah.
this state is not gonna, give us our rights, our, I mean, the land rights and sovereignty and stuff. I mean, I mean, why? I mean, we might go back to the treaty. I mean, and going back to the treaty, I just wanted to ask you something. I mean, so for the audience again, I mean, we are talking about the Yakthung or Limbu nation, just because, I mean, we belong to the nation, and we kind of know a tiny bit. I mean, Professor Tumyahang knows a lot, but I know a tiny bit. But we do acknowledge we have our Kambu or Rai nation. We have Serpalung nation. We have Yakha nations. We do acknowledge we all in the same ancestral homeland. We're sharing our land and stuff. So we do acknowledge that. But we are just talking about the Yakthung nation just because we are from the nation. So I just wanted to go back to the question of the treaty. So we hear this, we hear about treaties asking or kind of demanding it to be kind of fulfilled from indigenous nations in North America, with Turtle Island, we call it, yeah, and they are talking about the treaties made with the state. I mean, and not just in Turtle Island, and not just in North America, but in several parts of the world. I mean, there is this thing that indigenous people are trying to, go back to the treaty and gain access to those kind of privileges. So legally, in terms of legality, I mean, listening to the points you just said, I mean, we still have that possibility, no? I mean, to go back to by stating that treaty, we still have that possibility to go to the sovereignty, the autonomy, I mean, which we had before, no?
Okay, it's depend upon the power of this people who deserve that. But our belief is that if you are always dominated, you are always exploited. In that time, surely you have only one way out is there, that is the revolt. And revolt lead us to where? To which point? That we can't say that. There's a nation of the world. I think after the First World War and the Second World War, I think more of these countries are evolved there in the world. And that is still continuous. This process is still continuous. And that's why, that's around 1945, when this colony of the UK was off from India. In that time also, there's many states were there. But later, 1945, they become the one nation. However, they split it into many more these countries, like There's Bangladesh, there's Pakistan and East Pakistan and West Pakistan, and I think one Pakistan because there's Bangladesh, and this type of situation is always going on and on. If you don't respect to the one nation being another nation, means when you're dominant or a ruler nation, don't respect to the other nation. In that time, the situation may come that. We can reach there also. That's why that's the situation, and it's throughout the world. We can see that's the situation, and we cannot now forecast that. It may not be or maybe. I think I believe so.
Yeah, true. I mean, it's totally I mean, for us, it's totally obvious. I mean, if you can't hear us, maybe, I mean, there must be some other ways to get heard. So yeah, so the most people see, just to clarify to the audience, I mean, we both know, I mean, but just to clarify to the audience, and if there are any Nepalese audiences, I mean, watching, I mean, just to clarify to them, I mean, most of the people think, I mean, I came to realize that most of the people think like the current ongoing protest is about just the name, and then, yeah, when we get the name, I mean, it's done, right? But I mean, I just want to kind of point out the fact again with you, like, so the name is just the beginning, no? I mean, the end goal is, like you said, it's about the sovereignty and the self-determination, that what we want to do, I mean, with our region, our land, our relationship with the land. It's the name is just the beginning. I mean, the goal we want to reach is already kind of what you said, like sovereignty and self-determination, no?
Yeah. But name is we can take or many people take. It's a very easy thing. But this naming is not the easy thing. There is a one proverb here. To change the name is to erase the history. Means that's the finishing that's the existence of the someone or some society or some group of people or some nation. Yeah? That's the situation. It's not the easy task. It's not a so light thing in my perception. That is the also we can that's a theme what you are discussing about the storytelling. It's a name word is related with surely language. Yeah, and that's a language is always carried out that's a history, or history means that's a one type of story. Yeah, and that's a when we can take it authentically, then that become into that's history. Yeah, that's a factual history. And now the name of this province number one, which is now we are demanding this rename as that's Limbuan, Kirat. That's way. In that time, but they replace it and they name that's a Kosi province. Yeah. What about the Kosi province? They name that's way. It's also from this example also we can say what does the name reflect it. Yeah. For example, you can say that it's Kosi. Kosi is its origin is related to the Kausik Rishi or Kausik saint. Yeah, the saint is related to the you can say in a Nepali term you can say the Gotra, or you can say the ancestor of the Brahmins. Near about 30 castes of the Brahmins, they related to the Kausik, yeah, Kausik saint, and connecting to this name of the Kausik. The river's name is that's renamed that, okay, by the rulers, and it's especially highlighted after the treaty of the Kosi treaty, which is done by India and Nepal. Yeah, but it's actually it is one thing, but another thing is that it's our logic is that geopolitically it's wrong, because the Kosi is named just below the Kosi bridge. There is a Kosi bridge, just east side of this Kosi bridge. There is this you can see that there's like that's Kosi, that's a Bhim. Bhim is that's I think maybe the Rana Prime Minister's name. Bhim Nahar or Bhim, that's a canal. From that point to the Surkela Ghat, one another name is there inside the that's India side, and up to that area where the Kosi flows, the Sapta Kosi flows. Sapta means seven Kosi flows. That in that area that can be said that's what that's the Kosi means. This, from one side, it's related to the this Brahmin families, the certain families, and another is the what? Another is that it's geopolitically it's wrong. Yeah? And nowadays, just now, I think 2 or 3 months, I think that may not be that's so long. This India has that's a one published, that's a one that's like a map that was said as this Akhanda Bharat. In Akhanda Bharat, the many more that's places which are that's situated inside the country, in the Nepal country. Those also mentioned there. Means when you read name that that's our province name as a that's Kosi, then there is a chance to claim once upon if the ruler might be the that's type of this what's it that's a very that's a cruel type, yeah, very that's what's it that's type of ruler when the baby this race rise in that time they can claim same way. That's our that's inside the Akhanda Bharat, the Kosi province also. The Kosi also will be the will be one part of the that's India. The situation there is a that's type of chance. But why the ruler of the this Nepal, yeah, the member of the this you can say the province of the that province of this assembly, why they name this type? It's a that's why we can say it's a very danger thing. Yeah, they are replacing the prevailing name that's Limbu and Kirat, which was for a long time. Many people always they know about that. Yeah, but they just remove that and they name this type of this very that's confusing. Not only confusing this in a, it might be that this it may dismiss out of this existence of the that's area also. Yeah, that type of the thing is there. That's why nowadays we are always we are just doing this agitation. There's a movement there. That's our demand is that just avoid it. Just replace it and rename it. That's relating to the our this prevailing name. That's Limbu, and that is historically always is already that's approved and that's always that's in the that's known, yeah, that's popularly known. And another is civilization. According to civilization, there is the Kirat. That is this you know this 32 that's chronicles of the Kirat that's dynasty. They ruled here, and that's related to that fact. And those uh, two terms which are related to this here this real land, yeah, that should be named by replacing this previous one. Is the situation. And I think uh, what you asked me, I see exactly linked or I'm able to link or not, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. The things you kind of linked about, the naming, the language, and the what's the story behind the names. I mean, we have seen this like through and through. I mean, the Pathibara was changed to Mukumlung, and I mean, Chomolungma to Sagarmatha, and then to Everest, and so on. I mean, this kind of the building up a story that it was never kind of was in the first place. I mean, there's this Timbung Lake, I mean, one of the sacred lakes of the indigenous people. They changed into Vishnu Pokhari or something. I mean, again, relating a Hindu story to an indigenous lake. I mean, which which it was, I mean, it's just bizarre. It's just, I mean, it doesn't make sense. I mean, so I just wanted to talk more about this storytelling of by using the language and the names by these nation states like ours in Nepal, but also about colonization at the same time. You see, when we were growing up, I mean, we were taught about this story of unification, quote unquote unification of Nepal, how Prithvi Narayan Shah protected this region from the northern and the southern power, which is China and East India Company then. And we were taught about the bravery, quote unquote bravery, and how Nepal was never colonized by a foreign power. It seems that we've been taught were full of lies, you know what I mean? So the unification was actually founded on caste and religious hegemony. I mean, Prithvi Narayan Shah himself called it Ashli Hindustan, or which means the real land of the Hindus. I mean, which we know it is not. I mean, because we are the evidence that it was never a Hindu nation and never will be. And they created myths and stories about the religion and culture to suppress our indigenous culture and philosophy and identity kind of thing. No, I mean, I just wanted to speak. I just want you to speak more on the idea of how Nepal is never colonized. I mean, but we know. I mean, it's an internal colonization. We have been living the lives of the colonized people. I mean, in practical kind of in daily basis kind of way. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been this discussion in the first place. No, so I just wanted to want you to talk more about the how Nepal is a colonial kind of a project and not a what we call it a unified. I mean, full of flowers and those kind of things. I mean, they use the term Saja Fulbari, which means like shared garden. I mean, can you speak more about that, please?
Okay, Subash, yeah, it's this very this dilemma is there. Uh, we know that's already also that's we discussed. That's many things are that's colonized, uh, and we are by language also nowadays we feel so. Even this by English, the Nepali language also more or less is going to be the extinct in Nepal. When you go to into the this school in that time, if you talk in this Nepali, then you will be fine if you are a student, and the situation is there. And the same situation is in the this other nationalities, or you can say like when you in our family, or maybe the Sarai family, or maybe the Sherpa family, or maybe the Tamang family, uh, they always think according to the level. If your children the child doesn't talk Nepali, then he won't get this job. Because of that, you have to talk from the very beginning, and they their tongue may not be this skillfully pronounce this Nepali the stormy words, Nepali words, but even they try to do this one. They try to teach that's a Nepali. This type of this situation is there, and but not only that type of situation there. Another situation also is there. That is that we have to be free from the what? From the that's other dominance of the this other language, suppression of the other language, because that's theoretically each and every language are required. Like every individual is equal to other people. Yeah? The same way it's also the situation is in the case of the language. That's why we are trying to be this equal to the that's a what's it that's a Nepali language. The means the education should be given in this like a Limbu language or the Sherpa language or the Rai language or maybe there's a like a you can say that in the Tarai you can say that there's Maithili language or Bhojpuri language, because that is also equal as the Nepali language. But the rulers always avoid that. Still now it's that's a very I think it's a very the sad thing is that to just say to others, this there is no only the single quota of the this permanent this language teacher in Nepal. Yeah? That's a very that's a unique case here, especially which was especially in the two language like that's Maithili and that's Nepal Bhasha, means in Nevar language. In that language, from the Desponcet system, or maybe I think there's a Mahindra that's introduced that they're that's teaching. Other language where there's a ban to teach them, but they're in the two languages. Strategically, they were just open and accept those two languages. Other languages are now throughout the country. In school, any school, there is no any permanent this teacher of the any that's other that's a native language, except Nepali, then English. We can find that. Means now we are against that. That is our that's one process of it. That's our decolonization. However, our success is that's far that's away from our this point of where we are standing here. However, that's our this struggle for that. And we are doing so. That's why for this we are unite to each other. We are requesting to each other. But in the case of the that's naming this our province also, the same situation was applied. Yeah, and it is among the 7 provinces, except province number 2. 5 provinces were named, and including the 6, that's province number 1. 6 named in this like a Brahminical name, Nepali name, Sanskritized name. Yeah? Our demand and that's our agitation's target is that we should just rename with our the fundamental name, which is related to that's the civilization of the that's proper land. Who own that land? Who just live there? The whose civilization is just blossom there. Hmm? Now there's a in the other province, there was not that's exactly there's a boom that's agitation, but in province number 1, we reject this very strongly. Yeah, still now we are opposing it with force, and that also that's a link to the what offer we said. Yeah, we are not surrendering. Maybe our destination reached. What you are thinking, that boundary may cross. Yeah? But we are requesting them. It's not a greater thing. It's not big thing. We are just we are just demanding the name. Yeah? But that we are requesting them, don't let us to reach that point of time where we don't have a chance to meet to each other. We are requesting that. Yeah. And this type of situation also always we are the process of the decolonization, and it's related to this our that's a history, language, culture, religion, and all things are related to that. That's our situation. And same situation is we are fighting there. This according to the respective fields, and just to recognize us being what we are there as it is. We have to stand there, and we are saying them. It means being a Nepali. It's what to be the rainbow culture. Yeah? We are the one color of the. If we think the whole Nepali civilization is the one that's a rainbow, then we are the one color. We try to be bright as what exactly we are. If all of the civilizations, all of this identities, all the languages, all the cultures, all the histories, all the religions will be the equally this what they just exist, then surely this our nation will be very strong. That will be the very bright type of this rainbow culture. It's our our what we are nowadays. We are we are telling them, especially as that's our story. Just present our story. That's linking to our past history. That's the story, or we can say the history also. You can say that way because it is authentic also. Uh, I see. I feel so. This Subhashi.
I mean, personally and on behalf of my generation, I mean, I just want to take this moment to thank you. I mean, so Professor Tumyahang has been in the forefront of the protest, I mean, himself, I mean, physically on the streets. And he's also a member of our Yakthung organization in Kathmandu. And we want you and other elders, I mean, who has been out on the streets, our grandmothers. I mean, I've seen really, old grandmothers and grandfathers and even young people on the streets. I mean, I just want to take this moment, this opportunity to thank all of the people who are out on the streets and resisting this nation state. I don't think we have much time left, but I want to ask you some important, one important question that I had in mind, which I feel is important. So, as I said earlier, so our Yakthung nation, I mean, inside our Yakthung territories, we have different indigenous nations, right? So Yaka Nation, I mean, Lorung Nation, Sherpa Nations, Santhal, and we have so many brothers and sisters, I mean, inside the Limbu or Yakthung nation, Yakthung territories. So how what does autonomy or sovereignty will look like for nations inside Limbuan territories or Yakthung territories?
Okay, that's about
In the
it.
future, I
I
mean,
think.
in the future, I mean, now, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
don't,
Mm, yeah.
we are not practicing it, but in the future, what will it look like, or how should it look like?
Okay, yes, about this. I would like to share 2 points here. The first point is that this Kirat Yakthung Chumlung one, the institution name already you this pronounce here one time. The scholar one time. That develop a one that's interim constitution of autonomous Limban state of Republic of Nepal in that's 2012. Yeah, that's imagine the that's one type of that's frame of the that state Limban state, especially that is like nine in that time. It includes 9 districts of the Mechi and Kosi zone. Yeah? And in that time, that imagine that autonomous region of Limbuan among that's inside there. There's 14 that's regions where there's a purpose there. The Lomi, there's a few I would like to just pronounce here. That's Lomi, Singsa, Sherpa, Bote, Walung, Topegola, that's announced autonomous region. Yampu, Mewang, Lorung, autonomous region, that's a region. Yaka autonomous region, and like in the Tora area, that's a Mechi autonomous region, Rong Lepcha autonomous region. This way, that's in the hillside and the Tora area. That's they were proposed. That's 14, and another was the special historic geographical region also were proposed. There were two. That's one is that's a Bijaypur autonomous region, and another is the Birat autonomous region. Those two areas. And another was there's Thums, there's autonomous Thums. Thums means your districts. That they were altogether 19 here. There's a Mewa autonomous Thum, there's a Moiwa autonomous Thum, including that's Chobish autonomous Thum and Mikluk autonomous. There's 19 are there. And next where next where purpose there, the protected area of this Limbuan. They were this year. There are the 6. I think these are the list. That's why I would like to read here. The Maji protected area, Kisan protected area, the Munda protected area, Coast protected area, Chidimar protected area. It is in the Torai region, and LBGT protected area also got. They imagine that time also. And another is non-geographical region of the Limban. For this, that's Yil Dalit is one. That's the reason. Another is the Tarai Dalit. Means who are as a native of the land, who are staying there for a long time. Those all should be just recognized in their respective areas where they own. That's why it was proposed. It's one. We are doing the agitation. We are just running this movement. In that time, all those things we have in our mind. And this following this type of regions, we are forming this movement committees also. Yeah? And also this other thing is that it's from our side. And another what the constitution of the Nepal that we can say that there's normally that is our constitution that there's which was this is this declare what's it this promulgate, yeah, in the 1915. That also many there's a certain this type of situation there, this type of there's provisions there, like it was in this part 5 clause 56.5. There's one is special protected area. There's provision there. Another is autonomous region. Yeah, another the special and protected, and there's autonomous region. This on the basis of this can be set by federal law of social, cultural protection, or this economic development. On the basis of these, those areas, maybe there's what's say those are the provision there. When we apply these two concepts, in that time, I think no one feel in the this where this province number one now we are talking about that. No one can feel we are suppressed, we are exploited by other peoples. Yeah? Means in the future of the that's our that's what's it that's our existence of this province number one might be this time. It's our the baby that that's it's a dream, our dream, which is not exactly it is disturbed to apply in the reality. Yeah, it is not that's a mapped, it is not picturized in our real that's real what's it the canvas of our real practice. Yeah, in the future we hope when we will be this type of this in a this situation, in that time that might be the that's one sample of the like the state. We hope so.
I mean, what you just said is like beautiful, you know. I mean, this is what we kind of what we aim for now. So, but the nationalist people, nationalist, the people with nationalist ideologies. I mean, they kind of talk down to us like, oh, now you're talking only about the Limbus or the Yakthung people, and what about the other Brahmins and Kshatriyas people? I mean, you know, but like you said, I mean, it's a beautiful structure that you just kind of explained it here, and we apparently we even have a space for the non-binary people, LGBTQ, I mean, community as well. Who would think like that, you know? And also, I just want to add, like you also mentioned the non-geographical region or
Region.
protected areas for our Dalit friends and community. I think, yeah, I want to reiterate like we, unless we kind of, I mean, indigenous people and all other marginalized people, and especially if we don't work with our Dalit friends and Dalit community, I mean, our end goal will never be there. I mean, that's what I feel. I just wanted to put it out there. So before, I mean, I think we have just 4 or 5 minutes. I just wanted to ask your last question. So, you know, I mean, you have been on these streets, you have been talking to people, you have been talking to, you have been visiting villages and, you know, and different districts in our parts of the world. And you have been marching with those people, our mothers, our grandmothers, sisters, brothers, I mean, you know, in the protest and in this movement, in this current moment. What is the environment like there? What is the atmosphere? I mean, what was your experience? What was the atmosphere there? I mean, the I know it's positive. I mean, I know. I mean, we are really kind of we're not gonna let this go. I mean, you know, that kind of mindset we have. But what was your experience on the streets, on our land? I mean, what was it like?
Okay, it's a very wonderful this experience which I got here. In the beginning phase, especially in the day when they named the province as Kosi. That day was the 17th August 2079, or 1 March of the 2023. That was the day. In that time, uh, when we were beginning this agitation, in that time, that's a very task situation was there, because we were just very confused. What will be tomorrow? That's how many people will be in the street? How many they participate in this agitation or movement? we are very confusion. But when you announce that, that point of time, they were that's what we found in the streets. They found in where offices were there, like in the Biratnagar. Yeah? And from that day, maybe that's aged people, maybe the youngster, or maybe there's whether that's who are engaged in a profession, all are in the street, except big parties, leader of the big parties, except all are there. There are no exactly identified type of party leaders, except all are there. The previous time, in the past time, they voted to there's a UML, maybe the Congress, or maybe there's other party. But nowadays, that's leaving all those things there in the street. Yeah? And that's the situation already. Previously you said, that's our one friend is that's already got the martyrdom. Yeah, that's Potom Kumar Limbu already got martyrdom. Hundreds of our friends who were marching with us together in the street, they are injured, and they are still now in the treatment under the treatment of the hospitals, and some are facing the cases. And this one our friend is in still now in the jail. Yeah, this type of situation is there. And however, there's every like rural municipalities, in a village is there. That's youth for identities that's forming there. There's 14 districts. In every district, there are that's for the agitation. That's type of committee is forming there, and other committee also forming there. And formally, they are forming that type of committee, and they are that's participating in that's systematically in this agitation. And you are observing that leaders who voted for the Kosi, they are maybe either they are in the Kathmandu Valley, or they are in their office in Biratnagar, but they are not in their village. They are not in their district. They are not there. Electoral area. That's the situation is there, and not only those who deliver the speech against the identity. Those are also, yeah, they are also not able to reach there. Even you already observed this UML's central chairperson deputy situation. He was every step, not only one point. From Japa to his home district, Thebe to again back to Japa. Everywhere he was protested. He was protested. He was one is very amazing type of incident is there. When he stayed in Panther district, in that time he was unable to sleep in the hotel. Because of that, he faced to the army barrack, and he slept there. And you can guess what's the situation there. How the people are, what the people are doing there. What are they thinking there? Simply you can guess from that situation. Yeah? That's why I think it's normally shows that now each and everybody, now our especially this agriculture, this plantation time. This is the best time. But now still now you are this watching in the social media. Every day the agitation is continue there. Means they are working, and they save their time, and they race to protest again every day, in every district, and in every cities. That's the situation there. That's why I think it's a very means they are very serious about the their identities, how to protect it. There's what type of leaders doing which type of parties are doing misleading them and misnaming them, and they are cheating them. That's what they are guessing. And nowadays, still now you can think now the membership of the UML exactly which very highly against this identity. Is this membership is whether it is renewing nowadays? That's become half. Before last year, it was 8 lakhs, but now that's become means the existence of the party also it's in a challenge. That's the situation here.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it looks like, I mean, yeah, I mean, we're not gonna let it go. I mean, we're very hopeful. I mean, yeah, I think we are running out of time. I mean, thank you so much, Professor Amar Tumyahang. I really, really appreciate your time. On behalf of IBEAM and myself, I want to thank you very much for your insights and knowledge. And we ask you to keep on leading us, through these difficult times or struggling times or times of resistance. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining this talk. There's like so much we can talk about, but we're running out of time. Yeah, again, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye bye.